I am Dr. Harshvardhan Tikle and we are at Nair Hospital in Mumbai Central. This is a post-surgical intensive care unit and we have patients who are mechanically ventilated. Most of these patients require some kind of nebulization therapy and we will be covering this therapy in both mechanically ventilated as well as patients who are on oxygen therapy. Nebulization is the most common procedure which is carried out in the intensive care units, both medical intensive care and surgical intensive care units. Now in this session, we will be covering the different parts of ventilators and the circuit, how to use nebulization in a mechanically ventilated patient, how to use nebulization in patients who have oxygen therapy, cleaning and disinfection of the nebulizer accessories. Even though all the hospitals have their different protocol, what we will be covering is the common protocol which is followed in most of the hospitals. This is the complete breathing circuit, the inspiratory tube and the expiratory tube, the Y-piece, HME filter, catheter mount and the endotracheal tube. This is the nebulization kit with chamber and T-piece. On inspiratory limb, there is a connection which is given to fix the nebulization chamber. This is how you fix the nebulization chamber on the inspiratory limb, which is approximately 30 to 45 centimeters from the Y-piece. Before approaching a patient, remember to take all precautions that have to be taken as under the universal precaution rules. Put on a mask and doing an alcoholic hand rub. Before starting the nebulization therapy, it's important that we do an endobronchial tube suctioning. Now, endobronchial tube suctioning is done so that we can remove the secretions from the endotracheal tube and the lungs. The reason why we do this is to increase the deposition of the drug into the alveoli and the terminal bronchioles where the action of the nebulizer drug will be there. So now I'll do the suctioning. In this, you have to take a sterile disposable suction catheter, and then once you disconnect the patient, insert the suctioning catheter and then do a suction. This is how you do the suctioning. Hold the tube, pass in the suction catheter, start suctioning and take it gently by twirling it. This is how you do the suctioning of the endotracheal tube. Once this is done, you have to reconnect the patient to the ventilator. Now I am going to connect this nebulization system onto the ventilator's nebulization port. When you using aerosol nebulizer, now that we have to fill the drug into the chamber. Now you have to remember, in aerosol nebulization the drug volume should be around 4 to 6 ml to ensure adequate efficacy. If you are using any other nebulizer, then the volume may depend on the make of the company and as per their specifications. Then check for the mist. Now we will connect this chamber and T-piece onto the inspiratory limb. The chamber now has been set on the inspiratory limb. We have to remove the HME filter. This is the HME filter and we are now going to remove it. Do not disconnect the humidifier. Now there are two reasons for this. We have to put it 30 centimeters before the Y-piece so that it gives space for nebulization in between the breaths, and we have to remove the HME filter because it will entrap the aerosol mist in itself and the therapy will not be effective. Once the nebulization chamber is attached, before starting nebulization, ensure that the nebulizer is getting the flow of 6 to 8 liters per minute and decrease the inspiratory flow rate on your ventilator to less than around 60 liters per minute. Now the reason for this is that there is a maximum mist formation at 6 to 8 liters per minute and the particle size is less than around 5 microns, so which is for easy respiratory deposition. Second is we have to decrease the flow rate to less than 60 because more than 60 flow rate will cause turbulence and it will decrease the efficacy of the drug deposition into the respiratory tract. Now, for any patient, you have to set a tidal volume which is around 6 to 8 ml. So, if you have a patient who is weighing around 60 kgs, the maximum tidal volume should be around 400 to 500 ml for each breath. And most of the ventilators, when put on SIMV mode, will have a inspiratory expiratory ratio which is monitored by the machine, and what it is optimized by the machine itself. The trigger is at the least, that is 1, and the FiO2 for a COPD patient or even otherwise minimum is 40%, which we have selected. If you have patients who are on COPD, then probably you have to keep more expiratory time so that all the gas is expired from the lung. If required, you have to change the ventilator setting, so that you have to adjust the sensitivity trigger, the alarms and other settings, so that patient doesn't have any other complication because of the nebulization therapy. Position the patient at around 30 to 45 degrees if patient is being nursed in a supine position. Once we have done the settings, we can turn off the continuous flow or the bias flow from the machine and then turn on the nebulizer. Intermittently, you require to tap it if you are using an external nebulizer along with the ventilator, and once the nebulization is complete, say around 5 to 6 minutes, you can see in the chamber when the drug is finished, you can stop the nebulization. Now you disconnect the nebulizing chamber and then you reconnect the HME filter. You can return to the original settings on the ventilator. In this session, we will be discussing how to use nebulization therapy in patients who are on oxygen therapy. All the patients who are in ICU are not usually mechanically ventilated. They are sometimes on oxygen therapy only. In patients with asthma, oxygen should be used only in hypoxemic patients. In patients with acute severe asthma, oxygen should be used as the driving gas for delivering nebulized bronchodilator at the flow rate of around 6 to 8 liters per minute whenever possible. If the available source of oxygen does not produce the flow rate, compressed air can be used for nebulization for these patients, and oxygen can be given as supplemental oxygen through a nasal cannula at 2 to 6 liters per minute to maintain an appropriate oxygen saturation level. The patient should be changed back to his or her usual ventilation mode once the nebulization therapy is complete. In patients with COPD and associated risk of hypercapnic respiratory failure, nebulization is a part of emergency treatment for the patient. When nebulized bronchodilators are given to the patient with hypercapnic acidosis, it should be driven by compressed air, and if necessary, supplemental oxygen should be given concurrently by nasal cannula at the rate of 2 to 4 liters per minute to maintain an oxygen saturation of up to 95%. The same precautions should be applied to patients who are at risk for hypercapnic respiratory failure prior to the availability of the blood gas results. When oxygen therapy is initiated, arterial blood gases should be checked every 30 to 60 minutes and after that latter to ensure the satisfactory oxygenation without the retention of carbon dioxide or concurrent acidosis. Once the nebulization treatment is completed, the patient at risk for hypercapnia and respiratory acidosis should be shifted to controlled oxygen therapy with a fixed concentration device such as a Venturi mask, and it should be initiated as soon as possible. We come to the last part of the session, which is cleaning and disinfection. I have removed the whole nebulization kit from the ventilator. Now I will remove the tubing and then I will dismantle this whole nebulization chamber. The T-piece, the chamber lid, the baffle and the chamber. Now I will decant all the residual drug. Once all the parts have been removed, you can gently put all those parts into mild liquid detergent in accordance with your hospital protocols to be cleaned. Once all the parts have been cleaned in the detergent solution, rinse all the part in sterile water. Shake off excess water and keep them air dry. For disinfection, we have to repeat all the steps which we have done for cleaning. After they have been done, we have to dip all the parts in the disinfecting solution. In our hospital, we use Sidex for disinfection, and the minimum time required is 15 minutes. After 15 minutes, take out all the parts and rinse them in sterile water. Clean all the residual disinfectant from the accessories. Shake off excess water and let it allow to dry in a aseptic space.